Hey guys, I'm Scott with Homeport Residential, and today I'm going to go over roughly how much it cost and also how long it took to build and install my accessory dwelling unit or ADU here in San Diego. For this video, we're going to be focusing on the big picture and we're going to discuss the basic process to go from this to this. Today, we're going to focus on some permitting basics, the overall cost associated with an ADU, and roughly how long the process takes from start to finish. I'm also going to go over some lessons learned from my ADU project so you can avoid some of the mistakes and pitfalls I ran into. First off, it's important to emphasize there are a lot of variables when it comes to ADUs, so please keep in mind that every project is different and the cost and time frames can vary significantly based on your unique situation. To give you guys the bottom line up front, the total cost for my ADU project were approximately $164,000, which worked out to around $230 per square foot. I have a rough breakdown of those costs that I'll post in the description section, but to keep it short for this video, I'm gonna group the cost into three main categories: the cost of the home itself, permits, and the home setup and delivery fees. For my ADU, I went with a Skyline 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 711 square foot manufactured home that cost around $111,000, including taxes, title fees, and the options and upgrades I selected. I did shop around quite a bit before buying my home, and I ended up working with a local manufactured home dealer right here in San Diego. Overall, they did a good job. They linked me up with some reputable contractors, and I would recommend them to anyone considering a manufactured home. I'll put their contact information in the description section. Now, let's talk permits. The installation of my ADU required a builder's permit, which is standard for all ADUs, and it also required something called a right-of-way permit and traffic control permit. These or similar permits will almost certainly be necessary if you have easements on your property. Some examples could be easements for sidewalks, power lines, and other utilities. Long story short, always do your due diligence and make sure you get the proper permitting required before you start your ADU project. Now, the total builder's permit cost for me were $7,568, and my right-of-way and traffic control permit were $1,756. The most expensive costs associated with these permits were for the San Diego County School District, which worked out to about $4 a square foot or $2,900 in my case. Each permit also required its own set of plans, and the architect charged me around $2,600 for both sets. I also hired a permit professional who helped me with every aspect of the permit process from start to finish on all three of my permits. Hiring a professional cost me $2,200, but she was there every step of the way and even helped me with the permit required by my homeowners association. I highly recommend hiring a professional if you've never obtained a permit in the past. It can be a very challenging process, and having a pro in your corner can save you both time and money. I'll put my permit pro's contact information in the description section. Moving on to the delivery and installation fees, the total cost to deliver and set up my home worked out to about $40,000. This is including setting up the home on a permanent foundation and connecting the home to water, sewer, and power. I do want to point out that my house has easy access to county utilities, and I only had to run about 300 feet of piping and electrical wire over relatively level terrain, so my ADU installation and setup was a relatively easy project. Keep in mind, your home's installation costs could easily vary by an additional $50,000 to even $100,000 or more, depending on your lot, access to utilities, and if you need to install things like a septic system. Okay, let's wrap up with some basic timelines and lessons that I learned during my ADU build. My project from start to finish took 11 months. By far, the longest pole in the tent for my ADU build was the time it took for Skyline to build and deliver my home, which was 9 months from the day that I ordered it. My builder's permit took around 3 months to be issued by the county. Keep in mind that you will be required to have a set of plans with the type of home as well as the dimensions ready to go before you can even apply for your permit. One of the biggest lessons I learned during my ADU build is you need to call SDG&E or your local power company to coordinate your power connection request on day one of your project. I submitted my connection request to SDG&E around a month after submitting my builder's permit application, and I didn't find out that I'd need to upgrade my electrical conduit and also needed the additional right-of-way and traffic control permits until 5 months after my project start. Those right-of-way and TC permits took around 2.5 months to obtain, and my home was on my lot and sitting on its foundation without power for over a month while I was waiting on those additional permits. Also, if you're going with a manufactured home or prefab home instead of stick-built for your ADU, you want to make certain you have all the clearances mapped out to get your home from the street to your lot, and you want to include the dimensions of the delivery trailer that will be delivering the home. When my home was delivered, we were off on the clearance required by about 6 inches. Fortunately, I have some really amazing neighbors that allowed me to take a portion of their fence down to bring my home in and then put their fence back up when we were finished. However, without my neighbor's permission, we would have needed to rent a crane for the delivery of my home, and that would have easily added a minimum of $6,000 to $8,000 to the overall cost of the project. Finally, if you're thinking about putting an ADU on your lot, I can't stress enough the importance of having all the required permits. It only takes one complaint from a nosy neighbor to the county to shut your project down and add potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional costs to try and do things the right way after the fact. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. I will be putting links with the contact information for each of the professionals who helped with my project in the description section below. I'll also be putting links to the City and County of San Diego's permit departments as well. If you have any questions about my ADU installation, you can always shoot me an email or leave them in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.